one of NASA's high-altitude planes that is tracking. Now, because of the way that this camera is configured, it does look like it is dark, but it is indeed daytime, and you're beginning to see that plasma trail as Dragon re-enters the Earth's atmosphere. All of that is expected. We are anticipating an acquisition of signal around 2:51 p.m. Pacific time, so just minutes from now, and you may hear the core begin to hail out or call Dragon for communications and see if we can potentially get communications with them a little bit earlier. Following this, we'll have two events in rapid succession. We'll have the drogue parachutes deploy at 2:53 p.m. Pacific, followed by the mains just 1 minute later at 2:54 p.m. Pacific time, ahead of a splashdown at 2:57 p.m. Pacific time off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida.
Pretty incredible views of the Dragon spacecraft making its way home back to planet Earth with the Crew 9 astronauts on board. Once again, this view is coming from the WB-57 plane. That heat shield we can see doing magnificent work as it works to...
SpaceX contract.
All right, we're going to start hearing the SpaceX Crew Operations Resource Engineer.
Copy that, Freedom.
Great news there from Commander Nick Hague reporting back.
We see a healthy flight computer. Expect automated chute deployment.
Like we said before, things moving very quickly as Dragon Freedom makes its way home. Next event coming up will be deployment of the drogue parachutes. This occurs around 18,000 feet.
GPS has converged. Expect nominal altitude for drogue chute deployment.
We're about 2 minutes away from deployment of those drogue parachutes. Now the heat shield is continuing to work to slow the vehicle down. That entry period, the Dragon spacecraft went from orbital velocity about 17,500 miles per hour down to about 350 miles per hour. So that really gives you a sense of why that plasma builds up on the exterior of the capsule thanks to the heat shield and the work that it does. Those drogue parachutes will slow it down from 350 to about 119 miles per hour. We can see
15 kilometers. Brace for drogue window.
We can see seat rotation happening inside the capsule. Great to get those first views of our crew members. Once again, the capsule is going about 350 miles per hour when the drogues are deployed. Those drogue parachutes that we manufacture here in-house are going to slow the spacecraft down to 119 miles per hour. And that is when we will see the main parachutes deploy, and that occurs about 6,000 feet above the ocean's surface. And we are expecting drogue deployment at 2:53 p.m. Pacific, so we should see it any second now. And there you are getting a great view of Crew 9 inside Dragon Freedom as it returns back to Earth. We are awaiting the drogue deploys. This view coming from the WB-57 high-altitude plane. And there you see it on your screen, drogue deployment. You can hear the crowd here. The crowd here very excited as Dragon Freedom continues to make its way back to planet Earth.
Next up, we'll stand by for the main deployment of the parachutes. The mains are quite a bit larger. You'll be able to notice the difference on your screen once they deploy, and they continue to ensure that the Dragon spacecraft slows down even further. As we mentioned, Freedom will be traveling 16 miles per hour when it splashes down off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida, here at 2:57 p.m. Pacific time this afternoon. And there we go. We have visual for healthy mains.
That view was from inside. That view was from inside one of the buckets where the parachutes are located. So you see a great view there of the reefing on those parachutes, and as those main parachutes begin to inflate fully, 4 beautiful healthy mains. Now awaiting visuals of splashdown. We'll start to hear Commander Nick Hague.
Copy 1,000.
As we heard right there, Commander Nick Hague will be calling out the altitude of the Dragon capsule from here on out. Landing in water is simpler and provides more margin against unlikely parachute issues. You can see those parachutes continuing to slow the Dragon capsule down.
And if you're just joining us, you're looking at 800 meters, a live view of Crew 9, just minutes away from splashing down off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida. Splashdown 2 minutes from now at 2:57 p.m. Pacific. We do have 4 healthy mains really doing the job there. Just breathtaking views of a calm, glass-like ocean off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida. Crew 9 just minutes away from splashing down.
This is really such an incredible shot. That was a live view from our recovery vessel, Megan, which is stationed a couple miles away from the little splashdown site. We can see the crew there using their restraints as resting places for their arms. They were just in space moments ago, so their arms are able to float freely.
400 meters.
Which is a gorgeous bluebird day here that we have for the splashdown of Crew 9. It's incredible to think that the Dragon capsule just minutes ago was going over 17,000 miles per hour, and now gently coasting to a soft splashdown.
200. Copy, 200 meters. Brace for splashdown.
As you can see there on your screen, continuing to monitor progress of the Dragon spacecraft. And we're going to stand by for splashdown located in the Gulf of America off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida.
And splashdown, Crew 9 back on Earth. Copy splashdown. We see main chutes cut. Nick, Alex, Butch, Sunny, on behalf of SpaceX, welcome home.
It's an amazing from what ride. I see a chuckle full of friends here to here.
And as you can see on your screen, we have visual confirmation of splashdown. Dragon Freedom has returned home, and NASA astronauts. System safety verifications are in progress. We'll report back when recovery personnel are en route.
We're in section 204.100 land response. And look for your words.
In the distance, we can see the recovery vessel making its way.
Copy, you're in section 2 for the environmental assessment in 4.800. That is not necessary today. So we will continue to have communications between the Corps and Nick Hague, the commander of Crew Dragon Freedom, which just splashed down 2 minutes ago off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida. Dragon Freedom has returned home with NASA astronauts Nick Hague, Sunita Williams, Butch Wilmore, and Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexander Gorbunov. They're back on Earth after approximately 17 hours of a return journey from space.
The SpaceX recovery ship and team have been waiting for Dragon's splashdown, and they will now make their way to the splashdown location. The teams have been ready and waiting about 3 nautical miles away, so it's going to take them about 30 minutes or so to make their way to...
Yeah, this is where the main parachutes were stored. So we saw the castle station and that the panel that protected main parachutes still have the that closed for the parachute located. We see those we see the working. We see the specific for the main vessel. Will be closing on his them are going to retrieve the parachutes there on the first shot. The parachutes will be retrieved from the surface and will be the vessel closest to the craft is going to form some sea text. We see there is that is basically detected there are any other fumes that are still dying in and around the surface not local. That will be necessary for on burst to move the technology are likely to be there. So this team is going to make sure that is safe for the vessel to approach the spacecraft. Also checking sure that the pyros are safe and as you can see team around the craft to these specifics on all those vehicles. And as we continue to recovery, our spacecraft with astronauts takes on the process on the other side, trying to continuously altogether to take us all splash out. We are continuing to see a stable configuration of the configuration always splash out upright. The vessel configuration for the in progress which is the always off in your screen approaching. Right, continuing on the recovery process all the way through the extracted from the right spacecraft. And here are the changes on it. Smooth our price splash out because left 2 seconds 6 5 seconds per second. Approximately 17 hours prior to splash out. Trying to see the first has a strong section and form tunnel burn over. This takes the device about 3 4 times for. Tries to read the faster and the parachute slowly down the vessel. We're not going to so we did communications with the text out. Finding out on the structure, we move on the process already. He's having on the screen to make the card not to have fitting on the next of the years and it's going to be actually place. Well, we're going to approve the opportunity to do a check-in with these selected. This is procedure for every Dragon spacecraft when it comes to the this initial check-in is okay. You'll also have another candidate with the onboard power vessel to their impact. We have to recovery team they're on top of the spacecraft. They're going to install plugs in the continuing to get some views of the recovery personnel, both the main recovery vessel Megan as well as some of the fast boats that we discussed previously. Looks like just a beautiful day there off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida. Weather was pristine. We were able to get undocked from the International Space Station as expected at 10:05 p.m. Pacific time yesterday evening. And Crew Dragon has since completed steps ahead of its splashdown at 2:57 p.m. Pacific. And we're now stepping through procedures to get Dragon hoisted up onto the Megan recovery vessel and get the crew extracted out of the spacecraft. You did see some of the parachutes that were near the spacecraft. Upon detection of landing, Dragon automatically releases those main parachutes to prevent wind from pulling the spacecraft. Dragon then automatically safes any pyrotechnics that may still be present on the vehicle and may automatically perform additional minor system reconfigurations. The astronauts will remain seated in their suits at this point, but the onboard air conditioning keeps things temperature controlled inside the spacecraft so the crew remains comfortable and the communication systems. SpaceX com check. Copy that, Freedom. Have you loud and clear as well, and Dragon ground is no longer private. As we saw there on the screen, we have a couple of fast boats in the recovery fleet that have quickly moved into the splashdown location. They are being followed by one of the main recovery vessels, which will move into position upwind of the spacecraft. The 2 fast boats have very specific roles. Excuse me. The first approach is focused on immediate safety inspection, as we saw. They do this for spacecraft integrity and checking for any presence of those hyperbolic propellant vapors, and this ensures that it is safe for the recovery vessel to approach Dragon. Once Dragon is cleared for full approach, as we heard is the case today, the team begins rigging the spacecraft for water recovery by the recovery ship. The second fast boat is responsible for parachute recovery and also serves as a redundant boat to the first one that makes the initial approach to the Dragon spacecraft. As we saw a little bit earlier, we were also able to see one of the recovery team members get on a jet ski to help gather up the parachutes that were automatically detached from the Dragon spacecraft upon splashdown.
And it will take a little over 10 minutes for the recovery crew to complete their safety checks. Once they complete, the team will begin preparing Dragon to be lifted, and as you see, they are preparing for that to take place at this point. As part of the preparation for